Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rants alongside TK, Tommy Chrysan. Tommy joining us over at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen, just 5 minutes across the Mississippi River Bridge from downtown Baton Rouge. You can be at Court Street Cafe for lunch Monday through Fridays. Go check them out. Also, I'm at an undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, LASportshall.com. We are less than 2 weeks from the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. This time, 2 weeks from now, Tommy, I will be a very happy man because that means the induction weekend's over. We did all the heavy lifting that weekend and that Sunday and Monday. We still got work to do, but I'll be able to take a deep breath. So looking forward to 2 weeks from today. You can get your tickets at lasportshall.com. Sold out for the induction ceremony, sold out for the taste of tailgating. We still have, I think, couple spots left for the luncheon, the Tim Brando Tiger Athletic Foundation luncheon on that Saturday, the 28th. And we have some spots for the bowling, the celebrity bowling event on the 27th, but from 11:30 to 2. So get in there now, lasportshall.com. And of course, we have some free events on there too that are open to the public. So go check it out. Also, Louis LeBear's Casino, our presenting sponsor. Tommy, LSU baseball. We were looking forward to the matchup between LSU and Arkansas, and it did not disappoint. Even as good as Arkansas has been offensively this year, one of the best teams in the country. And that's why people think Arkansas have a chance to win the national championship based on that offense, because they've always been known for pitching and defense, but the offense has been special for them this year. The guy on the bump is the most important player on the field. We've said that for 150 years of baseball, and that proved out game one when Anderson and Shores and Evans were just about as good as LSU can do it.
Oh, it was amazing. And of course, as you know, I bet LSU minus 1.5. You saw my ticket at the sports book the other day when we did radio. So that was a good thing. But what a game. Did not disappoint. Every game in Omaha has been about the guy on the mound or the guy on the mound who didn't get it done. Okay. Such as Arizona's guy who came in. There's some errors behind it. But Kate Anderson was unbelievable. I mean, when Jared Jones goes 0 for 5 and you still win against a top team, that's good. And yesterday they practiced. He stayed and took extra bat in practice. Everybody else left. He stayed and kept hitting after practice. So he's trying to figure it out. But Jay Johnson pushing all the right buttons. You know, Ronnie, that's a pitcher's park. That's a play defense, a small ball park. And as we saw Jay Johnson this season do a little more small ball than he did last year, this might be rolling right into the prescription needed here in Omaha with the small ball. We've seen the other teams do it. I mean, Louisville squeezed two guys in yesterday, with safety squeeze play. So that's what it is. So it's LSU's in great shape. Play UCLA, got Ianson on the mound, and everybody in the bullpen's pretty good. Should be a good game tonight at 6 o'clock. LSU a 2.5 run favorite, 2.5 run, big favorite on the money line. It's like minus 275 over UCLA. So 6 o'clock tonight, 1 o'clock today, Arkansas and Murray. But you're right, the Tigers got it done, no question about it. It was a big, big win, and now you forget that and you make the game happen tonight.
What's incredible is that if I'm Jared Jones, I go give Kate Anderson a big hug because if LSU loses that game, the storyline is Jared Jones went 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. I mean, that's what everybody would be talking about and pointing to. What happened to Jared Jones? What happened to Jared Jones? But because they won, it's like, oh, by the way, did you know Jared Jones struck out 5 times? It's not a big deal. And that's what baseball is. It's a team sport. I mean, it's an individual's game played as a team. I mean, and what I mean by that is obviously the pitcher delivers the pitch and there's nobody else that throws it, needs a guy to catch it. But at the end of the day, he's living and dying on that mound. About 80% of what happens is him. And then, as a hitter, you're in the box. Nobody else is. Either get a hit or don't. You get 7 hits, you hit 300, everybody's happy. You hit 225, everybody's sad. It is what it is. So but at the same time, you need those teammates to pick you up, and that's what happened. LSU was able to pick up Jared Jones. The pitching pitch picked him up. Milam in the ninth with an insurance run picked him up. And so now the Tigers move on. But I would say this, Tommy. if there was ever a marble game, and we know that the second game of the regional is considered the marble game in the 4 game format, this is it. And I can't sleep on the fact that if LSU were to lose this game, who would pitch the next two? You know what I mean? Like, so you'd have to go through the losers bracket. Obviously, you'd bring back Anderson in the second one on short rest if your life depended on it. But the bottom line is that huge game right here. You get this one now. What, Tommy? You don't play till Wednesday. If you were to lose that one with a staff game, and your back's against the wall, you're able to go Anderson on Thursday to get you into the finals on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So that it's a big game right there because obviously Anderson throwing on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4 days rest as opposed to the normal 6 days rest that they get is not that terrible for a guy who was right at 100 pitches, wasn't laboring at all, was just as strong. They could have let him go longer if had he wanted to, or had they wanted him to. So today is everything because
Yeah,
you get that win today, you're in the driver's seat.
exactly. Just like Coastal Carolina is on the other side with the win last night, and I watched that game. I'll say this about Jared Jones, and he has been struggling for a month, basically. But I always use this example with kids, Ronnie. About 7 years ago, the Houston Astros were in the World Series. George Springer went 0 for 4 in game one with 4 strikeouts. At the end
Yeah,
of the
I
series,
remember.
he was the series MVP. He was a World Series MVP. So I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that that's how baseball can be. Baseball does not care about yesterday. They do not care. The game does not care about the day before. So, you can hang your hat on that. Maybe Jared Jones, maybe they're moving down a little bit in the lineup tonight like they did the other day, last week, I should say. So it's going to be interesting. Look, I can't wait to get in front of TV tonight and watch the game. And, it's so cool to just be on every pitch that, this could be the pitch that changes something or changes the game, or it starts the comeback or expands the lead. It's just so cool.
Um, if LSU wins today, Tommy, if LSU wins today, I think the Tigers are going to be national champions. That's how important I think today's game is. Um, because even if they have to play Arkansas, and we always will assume it's going to be Arkansas, even if they have to play Arkansas and they lose on Wednesday and they have to burn uh, Kate Anderson on Thursday, which means that Anderson would not be able to pitch in the championship series till Monday at best, at most. Even if that happens, you're going to be able to have Ianson come back and either throw game 1 or 2 for you in the finals. Whoever they face is probably going to be in a similar situation with arms. And with that fan base and with the history of LSU across their chests, and you might be facing a Coastal Carolina who, they're a great team, obviously, and they've got good pitchers, but they're going to give you one. I got to believe. I mean, I've seen LSU play. I called 4 Coastal Carolina games for the Sun Belt Conference Championship. I just feel like LSU can get one off of them with a staff or something. So, and then I think Anderson would come back. I think he's the kind of guy. I think he's going to want to come back on Monday. So I don't know. I just feel like this is that important. If Ianson goes out there and he's Ianson of the last 2 months, and gives you 7, and you're in the lead, and you can turn it over to Evans, Shores, and Evans again, which I'm sure that's what they're going to do. If you've got the lead, in the 7th or whatever, the 8th, it's going to go Shores and Evans again. Then I don't think there's anybody stopping that right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought about it last night when I watched Coastal, where I said, if LSU can beat UCLA, odds are it's an LSU Coastal Finals. Okay, now a lot's got to happen, but we're going to see. Even though it's not a hitter's park, it's for pitchers and it's about playing defense. We're going to see the runs scored go up a little bit as the week goes on because people are going to get deeper into the bullpen, further down the pitching staff line, especially those in the losers bracket who had to play multiple times. So I agree with your opening comment on this little piece that if they win tonight, the odds for them winning the national championship are very, very strong, very strong. But is a long way to go. A lot of stuff. You still got to get 27 outs tonight or more, and we'll see.
All right, U.S. Open. If you are a true golf lover, this was a great U.S. Open from a standpoint of the golf course was super tough. You had at one point on Sunday, there were five players tied for the lead. So it was anybody's game, if you will. Unfortunately, Sam Burns collapsed down the stretch. It reminded me of Sam Burns, the LSU golfer, was in the lead, in the final group on Sunday and had a disastrous day. It reminded me of Smiley Kaufman, who was in the lead group on at the Masters. What, about 8 years ago, Tommy, something like that, and he just fell off the face of the earth on the final day. Unfortunately, Sam's a better golfer than Smiley Kaufman's. Smiley Kaufman's now an online star, but Sam Burns is going to golf for another 30 years professionally. But he collapsed on Sunday.
Yeah, he really, especially after the rain delay, but it was tough to watch. And I watched every shot, and they had the delay. I switched to baseball and I went back. But here's the thing, right? JJ Spawn, not only did he beat everybody in the field, okay, but he beat the monster, which was Oakmont. And the monster was magnified because of the weather situation and the wet. Balls were not rolling. They were hitting in the fairway, maybe going 2, 3 feet. So you give Spawn the credit, but it was tough to watch Burns struggle. I think the delay affected him. He got I think, an incorrect ruling when he looked for a drop on a hole. And he talked about it after. You could read up on that, but he just didn't get it done. But JJ Spawn bogeyed five. He was 5 over par his first 6 holes. Okay, bogeyed his first 3 holes. So who would have thought he would be the winner at the end of the day? And it typically happens on Sunday at the U.S. Open. People start backing up like crazy. All the golfers that are, out of the lead are hoping people back up. Well, they all backed up except for J.J. Spahn, who, he had the 64-foot putt for birdie. He needs a 2-putt to win. Okay, a pro is going to 2-putt most of the time. Rarely do they 3-putt. And he knocked it in. But he did get a good teach because Hovland had a putt very similar right in front of him, and he jumped in and read the line. And he said after the tournament, he said, all I was worried, I knew the line. He said, I was worried. I want to see how hard Victor hit it because the rain had started coming down again. So he said, Victor hit it pretty hard, so I knew I had to. And he goes, it was about 18 feet away from the hole. I knew it was in, is what Spawn said. So, hey, Ronnie, a little footnote. 3 o'clock in the morning yesterday, he had to run to the CVS to get medicine for his daughter who was throwing up. Okay, so that's what you do on Father's Day if you're JJ Spawn. You go get the medicine for your daughter, then you go win the U.S. Open. So quite the day, quite the story for Spawn. I didn't know anything about him until he finished runner-up with McIlroy at the Players Championship, and then now he's a U.S. Open champion, and his life has completely changed. It'll never be the same.
JJ Spawn is Buzzy Heidel and Mike Hollander, one of their favorite golfers. Both of them worked the Masters, as gallery guards.
Right.
They saw him and were pretty much the, like, who's this guy? Because in person he's just short and stocky and doesn't look like a golfer, and he just kind of became like they were JJ Spawn fans before everybody else was. They were kind of on him and pulling for him. I thought when we talked to Buzz the other day, he said, outside of Sam Burns winning it, he'd love to see JJ Spawn win it. Well, that's
Really?
what
Okay.
happened. So great story, great story. They showed JJ Spawn walking in yesterday on Saturday. We were doing sports shorts and they showed him walking into the clubhouse, and he's got a t-shirt on, gym shorts, a duffel bag over his shoulder. Looks like just any old Joe, like they're going to stop him and not let him in because he doesn't belong. But fantastic for him. And Sam Burns will have many more chances in the future.
Yeah, he really will. I mean, he's a very good player, and he played great golf most of the weekend. And you just tip your hat to J.J. Spawn. And look, we talked about Oakmont last week, and I'm lucky enough to have been there a few years back. It was every bit the monster that everybody said it would be. No question about that. So next up will be the British Open next month, and so that'll be the next and the final major of the year.
So the Tigers in action tonight, 6 o'clock. Anthony Ianson on the bump. Heavy favorites, 2.5 run favorite against the UCLA Bruins. JJ
I'm
Spawn
thinking,
is your.
Ronnie. I'm thinking of laying a 2.5. What do you think?
I'm a little worried about the offense
With
in
it,
that
I'm
ballpark.
thinking they're going to get more hits. They didn't get a lot of hits the other
I
night
tell
with
you what,
the
if
offense.
I'm a big money line guy. I like to, even though you don't get the value there, I like to just load up on that. But for you, Tommy, I would say yes. Go ahead and take
Lay the line.
the lay the line. What was the score of Oregon State Coastal?
6-2, 6-1. Yeah,
Okay, all
right.
right,
Yeah.
okay. That was a good enough spread there.
Morrison
Uh,
wins 7+. He was unbelievable, unbelievable. Coming off Tommy John surgery too.
right.
Let's see. 6-2 was the final. Coastal winning 6-2, 6-1.
Yeah,
They got a late run, so 6-2 Coastal wins. That game puts themselves in a good spot, obviously.
yeah, and it's a good spot because they won't pitch again till Wednesday or
Correct. Yeah.
Tuesday.
Wednesday.
Tuesday. It is Wednesday for
They
them.
don't play till Wednesday.
Oh wow, you get the
That's
next.
what
You get that
I
extra.
think they said that on the broadcast last night. I could double check that, but
Yeah, I mean, usually I thought it was every other day, but um,
not when you
yeah,
win.
check that. But regardless, Coastal's in a good spot because in Game One on Friday, they did not. They had their two. They've got three starting pitchers. The number one and number three in their rotation, each threw 4 innings. So because of that, they're in a great spot to decide who they want to take the ball on this week in their next game.
Coastal does not play till 1 o'clock Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean that's a tremendous advantage when you start on Friday. You get that extra day, Tommy. That's 2 days off instead
Yeah.
of just one that LSU would have. That's tremendous for your pitching. So Coastal's definitely in the catbird seat because they got two fresh arms. Their number one and number three starter, and I like their number one starter even better than Morrison. So they're in a good spot. All right, TK, tell us about Court Street Cafe as we get out of here.
Well, breakfast, lunch, dinner, Monday through Saturday. They got it all here. Lunch specials, dinner specials. Connect with them on Facebook and Instagram. They do a great job promoting all that stuff. Court Street Cafe. Jason and the staff do a super job. Everything on the menu is good. Saturday nights, they got the steak night stuff going on. Get their steaks from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge. So we want you to check out Court Street Cafe. Many of you have. If you have not yet, please stop by in Port Allen, 805 Court Street in Port Allen. You'll be glad you did. Don't forget Baton Rouge Rougarou, first place in the Louisiana division of the Texas Collegiate League. They got home games. They're on the road a bunch this week. Nobody plays on Monday in the league. They're on the road Tuesday through Friday, but they'll be home at Pete Goldsby Field Saturday and Sunday night against the Lake Charles Gumbo Gators. I want to thank everybody here at Court Street Cafe, and of course our presenting sponsor, LeBear's Casino and Hotel, the ESPN Bet Sportsbook, the Edge Lounge, 18 Steak, you name it, all out there at LeBear's. Appreciate you watching. Like we always say, like and share this show. That helps a lot. I don't care if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or X. You watch it later in the day. You watch it tonight. Whatever you got to do, like and share this show. That helps us a lot. We appreciate it. Okay, on behalf of Ronnie Rance, I'm Tommy Chrysant. Have a great day, everyone.